training.
Are you listening? Damn.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Peak Podcast, a source of information, tools, tips, skills, lessons, stories, and mindset to help you reach your peak and beyond in fitness, relationships, your career, and so much more. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to episode 69 of the Peak Podcast. This episode is called Identifying Your Sphere of Control. So I did an article on this recently, so I just wanted to go over that article and basically do a podcast version of it. I want to talk a bit about why I think we face anxiety. And the reason I want to talk about anxiety is because anxiety is generally feeling like you don't have control of a future event. So I want to talk a bit about that, where that comes from, and then a bit about how you go about identifying your sphere of control, and basically link you back to that article so that you can actually do the example yourself. So as I said, anxiety is basically worrying about a future event, right? And while we do have control of a lot of things in life, the future isn't really one of them. We can prepare for things, we can get ready as best as we can, but we still have no control of the future. And that's where anxiety comes in, okay? The problem with anxiety is left unchecked, can kind of run rampant on our mindset, and it can lead to depression, okay? It can lead to full-blown depression. A lot of time wasting as well with anxiety. So not worrying about the things that we can't control about is important, right? And there are a lot of things we can't control. Reasons why anxiety comes in, I think, is because, partly because of fitting in, trying to fit in and be accepted. We feel like we don't fit in, or we feel like people don't accept us. And the reason we want to be is because it's probably pretty important through evolution that we did fit in, okay? Because you wouldn't want to stand out from the tribe, otherwise you're kicked out of the tribe, okay? So we have this deep underlying urge to fit in. Even though in today's modern society, that's probably not the best thing, actually. Right? Even when we're young, we learn to copy people, we mimic our parents, we're basically searching for our place in the tribe, okay? So all of this starts young. It doesn't change greatly once we get into high school. We're trying to fit in. Even though we're trying to stand out, we're also trying to fit in. We're trying to find our group, our tribe of people, which is kind of why the internet became so big, right? Obviously there's lots of information, but you can connect with people who are interested in the same things, right? All about fitting in, people like you, right? People like us do things like that. Okay, so again, we worry if we fit in, if we don't. These things also bring anxiety. Another reason I see where anxiety comes in is we become very outcome focused versus process focused. Everyone is always worried about the outcome, earning the money, right? Losing the weight. And as a result, we get worried if we're not going to reach it. We get worried because we compare ourselves to others. But it's always in terms of that final number, right? The money, the weight, right? That's always what it's about. Instead, we should be focused on process, okay? Because the correct process leads to the desired outcome. Okay, you can achieve any outcome using the wrong process, but often it's not repeatable. Whereas the right process will lead to the right outcome over and over again. So this can bring anxiety as well, because all of a sudden our car isn't as good as Bob's down the road. Issue, right? Whereas if we focused on the process to get the car, then there would be less worry, right? We're not worried about that final step. We're worried about the process, okay, and just putting in the work, right? And hopefully, right, this all leads to acceptance, okay? Because this is something that, when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to this idea of trying to fit in, hopefully that the goal is to accept ourselves. Okay, the goal is to accept who we are, accept that we can't control things, accept the things that we can control, accept responsibility. Right? I think this is, personally for me, with my depression, part of overcoming that was a lot about this acceptance. Okay? And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, was really touching on identifying the things you could control, right, and accepting those, and accepting the things you can't. So check out the website, just type in peak strength and nutrition, sphere of control, and you'll have it there. It's a pretty simple exercise just to work out the things that you have total control over, some control over, and no control over. And as an example, you have total control over your actions, or at least most people do, by the way. You have control over the time you wake up. Right? That's a choice. Again, an action. You have some control over your thoughts and your work schedule. Right? You have some control. A lot of people think that they can control their thoughts, but no, you'll have random stupid thoughts pop into your head for no reason. You got some control, not a whole lot. No control. The weather, that's kind of a big one. The world, right? What others think of me. Do the exercise, and what you tend to find is that the things that you don't have control over outnumber the things that you do by a massive way, right? There's really only a couple of things we have control over. We can affect the outcome, right? You go for a job interview, you can affect the outcome by preparing well. Still doesn't mean you get the job, but at least you can prepare well. But getting anxious about those things, like truly anxious, it makes no sense, because that's basically what others think of me. You don't have control over that. You probably don't even know what criteria they're looking for, what criteria they're measuring you against, right? So we bring anxiety into our lives from those things I talked about earlier, things like trying to fit in, trying to be accepted, focusing on the outcome instead of the process. And if we can just look at the things we can control versus the things we can't, we realize we can't control that much, so there's no point worrying about them, right? Hopefully that helps subside that anxiety that comes with worrying about the future. Okay, so go to the website again, Peak Strength and Nutrition. Just go type in Peak Strength and Nutrition sphere of control, and it's a pretty simple exercise to do there. Again, like I said, you'll find that you don't have control over more things than you do. Simple as that, right? So there's no point worrying about them. That's it. Super simple podcast today. think about the things you have control, things about the things you don't have control, and the things that you don't worry about them. I will return next week for another podcast. If you like this podcast, please give it a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If not, let me know how I can improve, because we want to improve. Also, I've got a free 5-day course available on my website. Check it out. It covers training, nutrition, mindset, recovery, goal setting and values. Massive. It's huge. It's actually a huge course for 5 days. It's huge. Check it out. Peak Strength and Nutrition 5-day course. Just type that in. You'll find it. Awesome. Until next time, guys, be safe, be awesome, keep listening to podcasts, especially this one, etc., etc. Peace.